There are a lot of mistakes you can make in trucking where the result is an inconvenience. Miss a turn, you're a little bit late. Forget something on your pre-trip, hopefully you catch it before you roll. But when you've got a trailer full of sulfuric acid behind you, there are mistakes where the consequences aren't measured in minutes, miles, or dollars. They're measured in skin grafts, hospital stays, permanent injuries, and phone calls to your family that nobody ever wants to make. That's the reality of hauling hazmat. And here's the scary part. Sometimes the driver you have to worry about isn't the rookie who's terrified of what's in the tank. It's the veteran who's done it 1,000 times over. Because as our guest today put it, complacency can be the enemy of safety. A few weeks ago, we talked to liquid drivers about PPE and hazmat safety from their perspective. And today, we're flipping the script. We're talking to the people who train drivers, watch the process, and investigate when something doesn't look right. Driver training and development leader Shade Thomas told us something today that really stuck with me. When he sees a driver who's a little bit scared of acid, he actually likes it. Because the fear means you respect it. And when you stop respecting it, that's when the voice creeps in. It's hot. I've done this 1,000 times. I'll only be out here for a minute. I don't need this whole suit. Adam Wiblishauser from Liquid Safety Department says that's exactly what they're seeing right now. It's hot outside. That PPE feels like wrapping yourself in a garbage bag, and they're seeing drivers on camera sometimes wearing little more than gloves and face protection when the entire suit is required. And Adam has a very simple way of putting that decision into perspective. He doesn't want to call your emergency contact. He doesn't want to tell your wife, your husband, your mom, your dad, or your kids that you're lying in the hospital with severe chemical burns because you decided being hot for a few minutes was worse than putting on your PPE. But here's what I love about this conversation. It isn't 45 minutes of the safety department wagging its finger at the fleet. Not at all. Because liquid drivers are doing a lot right as well. They're seeing good pre-trips. They're seeing clean DOT inspections. They're seeing drivers who follow the procedure every single time. And as Adam puts it, sometimes the best thing you can hear from the safety department is absolutely nothing at all. Today, we're talking about all of it. Why the little things matter. Why that safety strap matters. Why you stay with the truck during an unload. Why you verify the product and the tank before you even hook up. Why you get that customer validation form signed. And why, no matter how many times you've done this job before, the chemical in that tank deserves exactly as much respect today as it did the first time you hauled it. Because you don't wear PPE for the 1,000 times nothing goes wrong. You wear it for the one time that something does. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Let's roll.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
What's good out there, Liquid Trucking? Welcome into another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus. Thank you so much for being here today. Everybody that went to the website, podcast.liquidtrucking.com, or went on Spotify or Apple or Google or iHeart or Stitcher or any of the rest of them and found it and clicked download, we appreciate and we thank you today for being part of this program. Now, I will tell you right now, if you want to be more of a part of this program, it's really easy. Head on over to podcast.liquidtrucking.com. Send me an email. It goes right to my pocket. Tell one of the guys that you're training with. Tell Jake in the recruiting department. Tell Jason in HR. You can talk to pretty much anybody at Liquid Trucking, and they will point you my direction, okay? I've met a lot of these dudes out there. You see Bo Whipple running around? Bo's a great dude, man. Tell him, hey, Bo, I want to be on the podcast. Can you get me in touch with Marcus? Bo's got my digits, you betcha. All of them do. So make sure and let him know. What about John Lohan? I know you guys see John Lohan running around out there. He's been on the podcast before. He'll hook you up with my number. Maybe you're in driver development and training with Shade. Shade's on this episode. So All I'm trying to tell you, my digits are available out there, and I wanted you guys to know that. I wanted to reinforce that a little bit. As you guys might be wondering, why hasn't he introduced Amanda yet? Where the heck is she? Well, I promise you she's fine. She just had a obligation today that she had to go and take care of, and I understand that type of stuff. She's dealing with actually making another podcast, and she's very good at her job too, so I wanted to let her focus on that today. And we're back here to what it used to feel like in the olden days. It's just you, it's me, it's my microphone, and sometimes I spit when I talk so it hits the camera, but that's nobody's seeing that. This is an audio-only podcast, thank God. What are we talking about today? Well, a few weeks back, we had some drivers come in here to talk about proper PPE usage because we were seeing some trends, and those trends were saying that it's hot outside. Maybe drivers are not wearing and utilizing their full PPE kit as they should be. And so Amanda and I dove in with some drivers. We talked to some guys, Matt Cleach, Polar Bear. We talked to them about what the PPE means, how important it is. Do you ever skip it? If so, what's your excuse? And guess what? They didn't give us one. They don't skip it. They understand that stuff needs to be worn. But from what I understand, from what I'm hearing through the grapevine, we've still got some drivers that are kind of cutting the corners on this a little bit. And today we're bringing in a couple of guys with a vast amount of experience in positions to either train or coordinate the safety. And they've got a lot to say about PPE, acid, hazmat, you name it. Amanda and I tried to put things into perspective by telling you guys what sulfuric acid will do when it hits your skin, or caustic, or any of the rest of the things that you guys haul will do to you if you get it on you. And one thing that we know from this show, many drivers have come on here and talked to us about it before, you can't really know when something is going to go wrong. Because otherwise we wouldn't say it's going wrong. It would be it's going exactly as expected. And you're never really expecting a blowout or a clamp to come off or, anything else that can happen to you out there while you're offloading or onloading some of these hazmat chemicals. So I thought it would be a really good idea to bring this thing full circle. We've heard the driver's perspective. That's a very important one. Obviously, this is a podcast for liquid trucking drivers. But we also have a whole safety staff and a whole training staff sitting back at the terminal in Plattsmouth with a lot of experience. And they're going to come in here today and talk us through some of the things that they look for, some of the trends that they're seeing, give some advice on maybe how to change some of these trends. And also, I'll ask them, hey, what's going right? And fortunately, I am doing this part of the show from the future. Amanda was able to join me for the interview with Shade and Adam, and I'm really glad too, because she's got some great tips and tricks that she thought up that were completely out of my lexicon. Like, it didn't even think about this stuff, and it ended up that Shade's even tried one of her little tricks before, and it actually works. So we got a great interview coming up for you here with Adam Wilbeshower and Shade Thomas. And I'm really excited, man, because Adam's pretty new to the staff, and he was so quick to say, yeah, I'll help out. So we got another guy. That's what that means. Here at the podcast, we just found another guy with a ton of experience tanking, a ton of experience both behind the wheel and behind the desk, and he's going to be an asset to this program for sure. I can guarantee you that. One more call out real quick for the website, podcast.liquidtrucking.com. Go there, send me an email, be a part of this podcast. We would love to have you. I guess that's about it. We can go ahead and jump into our interview segment here. Now, I will tell you this. We had a few technical difficulties, something I haven't really seen happen before with our software here. But as you listen to this and when it comes to the end of it, what I want you to pay special attention to is, wow, that sounded really good. That's Mike the Audio Ninja. That's the guy I tell you about all the time. We try to give him a lot of shout outs on the show, but it's never enough because what he had to work with today versus what you hear, two completely different sides of the earth, okay? And I'm telling you, I'm not the only one. In fact, I'm a very, very small percentage of this entire operation. The Liquid Trucking Podcast involves a lot of people, and they all deserve the credit that we give them as much as we can here on this show. Mike, my audio ninja, Jessica, my producer, Ari and Luri on the art, Hannah working her way in here, helping out with copy and promotions, Tyler on the website, and of course, my illustrious co-host, Amanda. This is a team of people. It takes a village to raise this podcast, and man, am I lucky to be working with the people I get to work with. So, for your ear listening pleasure, here is another Mike Martin masterpiece for you that I did my best to screw up, and he's so good you can't even tell. Let's bring the guys in here. All right, Amanda, we're going to bring our guests in here in just a moment, but one thing I wanted to bring up here before we get into it that I think is really cool is this is sort of a follow-up episode to one that we did a few weeks back where we talked to drivers about proper PPE usage and hazmat safety. Really cool episode, right? Because we got the driver's perspective there. We got the things that they're looking for when they're out there. But now we get to hear this from the other side of the coin, Amanda. We get to bring in a couple of people, both from the training and the safety departments here, and talk a little bit about hazmat safety, proper PPE usage, acid safety, you name it. I'm excited for this one. I love it when we round out a topic like this.
A lot of episodes have stuck with me, not going to lie, but that one in particular stuck with me in a way that the blanks were filled in by my imagination, which then followed me to my dreams. So I'm really glad to have these guys here to tell us a little bit more.
Well, let's bring him in here right now. Let's welcome back to the show, making his second appearance on here. We've got driver training and development leader Shade Thomas on the line. Shade, thank you so much for your time, my friend. It's good to have you back.
Oh, thank you.
And now, Shade, how long have you been doing the driver training and development? Because I thought, were you a driver at some point in time since we started this podcast, or am I just crazy?
No, I was a driver. I was an over-the-road driver. Been here roughly 11 years. Then I kind of moved into a driver trainer doing field training. And as far as coming in the office, being kind of full-time week one trainer, I've been doing it for about 2.5 months now.
Okay. How you liking it? That's enough time to get your feet wet.
Yeah, it is. I really like the air-conditioned side of it.
I bet, man. I bet. And what about the home time? Because over the road, that means something in the trucking world, and I'm sure your family's getting to see you a lot more around the house.
Yeah, probably, unfortunately, if you ask them. But, I mean, for the last 4 years, I was home every night, so it's really nothing different.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for joining us, Shade. We're glad to have you here. We're going to pick your brain a little bit. We also want to introduce somebody making their first appearance on the show and a newer member of the Liquid staff, from what I understand. We've got Adam Wiblishauser here. He is the safety coordinator for Liquid Trucking. Adam, thank you so much for being here, my friend. Welcome to the party.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, outline your experience a little bit for me, Adam. First of all, when did you come on board here at Liquid, and what were you doing before you got here?
So I came on board here the first of the year as a driver. So I was driving for that period of time, and then later on, when this position came open, I went ahead and applied for it. And so for about the last month or two, I've been here in the safety department.
Okay. And before you were driving for Liquid, was there any safety department experience, or were you a driver this whole time for your whole career before you got into safety? How did that sort of play out?
Well, I've had a CDL my entire adult life, so I've held a number of driving jobs. Prior to coming here, I worked for another tanker company that basically is probably one of our competitors. So it's a very similar thing, and I did work closely with safety over there.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Well, sounds like a wealth of experience from both of you guys. I love that both of you have been in the driver's seat and have seen the things that we're going to be talking about today, not only in like a classroom or, a study, but you've seen it hands-on. That's really important here. And I want to jump right in. Shade, I want to start with you because you're going to be watching drivers handle this stuff. You're going to be sort of walking them through the process. When you're watching a driver handle hazmat, Shade, what are you looking for that the driver might not even realize that you're watching? What do all those years of experience that you have handling this stuff help you pass down to the new guys?
As far as the PPE, just putting it on properly and using it properly. Putting the suit, your cuffs over your boots, your cuffs over your gloves. So if you did have a spill, something got on your suit, it'd run down off your sleeves or your pant legs over your boots right down on the ground. If you had everything tucked in, like everyone wants to be a cowboy nowadays and stick their pant legs inside their boots, that's not a good deal because that acid gets on you, it's going to run down in your boots, soak into your socks, and cause third-degree burns kind of thing. So just putting the stuff on properly, as far as your hood, your goggles, your gloves, your Tyvek suit, all that stuff, you want to get all that on properly. And then just moving a little slower, being really sure of yourself as you're doing it. You're hooking up hoses and you have gaskets in there. When I was unloading the acid and stuff like that, I would, I don't want that stuff to be right the first time. I wouldn't want to just slap together and have a leak and have to stop and take a hose off and get my hands down in the liquid. So I just put new gaskets in. I'd shim my hoses and make sure everything was tight and everything was proper with my PPE, and then just slow down and take your time. As you know, we get paid by the hour around here. So you want to take your time and not have a spill. I heard Amanda, right? Correct?
Yes,
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, I heard her say in the open little monologue, she's seen it in her dreams. I could show you pictures that would be in your nightmares if you did have a acid spill. So
I believe it.
you want to do things. Yeah, you want to do things right the first time, every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amanda, I noticed you nodding your head at the same time that I was, because we hear the words slow down so
Literally.
many times from so many experienced drivers. And when we get the guys in here that have been doing this job for 30 years and you ask them what's the biggest piece of advice they can give, what do they say, Amanda?
It's always to slow down. Take your time and do it right. And man, if that's not the hardest thing to do, but the easiest way to make a mistake is to not slow down.
Yeah, exactly. Adam, we'll get to you here in just a second, but Shade, I've got one follow-up for what you just told us. Is there anything that you can see when you're watching a guy go through the motions here where you just know immediately, hey, this guy's got his stuff together. This dude's an experienced driver. He knows what he's doing. Anything like that sort of a light bulb goes off in your head, something that they do or a habit that they have that cues you into all the experience?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting suited up, right? And they've obviously done it before. But, honestly, I like to see a guy that's scared of it, because if you're not scared of it, you get complacent. That's when the accidents happen. So a guy that's really worried about acid, which he should be, that's a good thing to see him scared of that product.
Yeah, absolutely. And because if you're a little bit scared of it, that means you respect it too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. A guy, like I said, seems like most accidents happen, guys that have done it for years and years and years, they just get complacent, like, oh, it's not going to happen to me. I've done this 1,000 times. Just one little thing can break and just basically ruin your life.
Absolutely. Adam, I've got one here for you, man. I'm going to put this one up on a platter and just have you tell me what it means to you as a safety coordinator. I once had a director of safety from a different fleet tell me very succinctly, complacency is the enemy of safety. And you heard Shade right there mention complacency. So you heard him say, hey, sometimes the guys that have been doing it for the longest are the guys that get complacent. What does that mean to you when I say complacency is the enemy of safety, Adam?
100% correct. If you get into kind of a routine and you think you can do it with your eyes closed, that's where you see the most accidents. And not just in trucking, but when I was in the military, same deal. You get people that just they get into the routine and they think they can do it with their eyes closed, and the next thing you know, there's an injury or there's an accident.
Well, we love our vets here on the Liquid Trucking Podcast, and I do want to say thank you for your service real quick. Which branch were you in?
I was in the Army.
In the Army. Well, again, thanks for your service. We never fail to call that out when somebody mentions it here on the show, because we got a lot of veterans working here at Liquid Trucking, and I'm sure you know that by now, Adam, since you've been here for a little bit. So next question I want to ask you is, what hazmat safety trends are you seeing across the fleet right now, Adam? Is there anything that is, and these could be positive trends or negative trends, we just want to get the news out there to the drivers listening. Is there anything on your mind right now that you really wanted to get on this episode that you're seeing as a trend?
Yeah, right now it's hot outside, so we're having issues with guys not wanting to put on all of their PPE because it's too hot, and I totally get that and understand that. I've worn it myself. It's it's like wrapping yourself in plastic essentially is kind of the way it feels. But I'd rather be hot for a few minutes while I get this done than have severe burns all over my body or have something even potentially explode.
Great answer. It's kind of a get comfortable being uncomfortable thing this time of year. And we all know it. I mean, we had the drivers on here talking about it. That was one of the main gripes that you hear is that, man, it's really hot. But yeah, like you said, rather be uncomfortable for a few minutes than possibly injured forever.
Right.
And Shade, to play off of your driving experience a little bit, did you ever, skip or cut a couple of corners when it was too hot as a driver? Anything like that or did it ever cross your mind, I should say, if you never actually did commit the sin of not using your PPE properly because of the heat? Did it ever cross your mind when you were driving?
No, not really. I pretty much suited up on everything. Again, the beauty of this job being hourly, we're not in a hurry. If you get overheated, just stop the pumping or blow off process and get up in your truck, get cooled off. And then once you feel good enough to get back out there, just get after it again. You're only out there for an hour. So if you have to take a couple breaks, to do it safely, you're basically getting paid more money to do that load being hourly.
Amen. Gotta love that hourly wage, man. Adam,
Yep.
I'll go back to you for another PPE question. We know it's hot. We know they're skipping some of it sometimes because of the heat. Is there a particular piece of PPE that gets skipped more than others? We talked a little bit about the hood when we had Matt Cleach and the guys in here, Polar Bear, talking about it. What's the one that you see get skipped the most often that might be the biggest problem right now?
I would say the entire suit. What I'm seeing when I look at video on these, and we do go back and spot check on video to make sure people are doing the right thing. They won't have hardly any of it on. They may have the gloves on and the face mask, and that's it. And to go back to the question that you asked Shade earlier, I think I would be lying if it never crossed my mind not to want to put that stuff on when it's hot outside. However, then you start thinking about the what ifs. All it takes is one little hole somewhere, and then you got this stuff all over you. So there's a lot of pressure in those lines. So my personal advice to you would be to wear it, because I don't want to have to call your emergency contact and tell them you're in the hospital because you have burns all over your body.
Yep. Amen to that, man. And some of the drivers that were talking to us about it were telling us a little bit about what some of these chemicals that liquid hulls can do. And some of the research that Amanda and I did, Amanda, if you'll remember, we talked about one product that it could get on your clothing and take a long time for you to ever feel that it's burning you, but the damage has already happened. It's under the skin. Things are going very badly out there. And I saw you kind of squirm a little bit when Adam said that they're kind of neglecting the whole suit from time to time. Talk to me.
Well, I mean, first of all, the substance you're referring to is the one that I think I've thought about the most since that last episode, because the concept of that is absolutely terrifying. It's like poison ivy times a million. You don't know you have it right away. You're probably spreading it all over yourself with the oils from the leaves, and by the time you realize it's too late, and you wish you would have just worn pants to go on that hike. But this is so much worse than that. I swear, it's being hot is not the worst thing in the world. Okay, being hot is not the worst thing in the world. I gotta ask. I guess I'll ask both the guys, maybe more so Adam, but I have some tips from a lady who maybe deals with getting extra hot every once in a while. And I don't know if these things might translate, but I thought maybe it'd be worth asking about it. Is that cool?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So one thing that is amazing that I learned about, do you know there's cooling material? They make blankets out of it. You could totally make like some shorts, something to go under your suit out of the cooling material, because boom, that's going to help. Then there are personal air conditioners. Have you seen those, Adam? They go around your neck.
Yep.
Can that fit under the hazmat gear, or is that a maybe you shouldn't do that?
I don't know that would fit under the hazmat gear, but you can wear whatever you want underneath that hazmat gear. I'm sure we have a lot of guys that, strip down to their underwear before they put that stuff on. When it's been this hot like it has been this summer, I probably would just jump back in the sleeper and strip down to my underwear and then put that stuff on.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, with as hot as it's been this summer, you're going to catch me in a Borat mankini underneath of that PPE because I am a sweater. I'll tell you that much right now.
All right, I have one more.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Those
Shane.
real quick. Those neck fans, I have used those. They will fit under your suit, under your hood, just to go around your neck where they blow up and down. I have actually used those before, so
Okay.
they help.
There you go.
About the belly button up, but that's about it.
Do they inflate you like the Michelin Man once they start going?
No, I only have a 12 volt. I don't have the 18 volt. So.
Okay, all right. So if you want to get puffed up, the 18 volt's the one you want to buy there. Go ahead, Amanda.
My last one, and this is the one that gets me the craziest looks from people. I started finding ice packs like the ones from the nurse's office in elementary school. They crack that sucker and, you put it on, whatever. I've been keeping them in my purse because they're $1. So
why did you look so bashful when you said that? Like, I've been keeping them in my purse.
The looks I've been getting when I pull one out.
I got it. Great advice there. I think that's probably okay. Again, it's a personal thing, right? You've got to be comfortable, but you also have to be safe. So make sure that this stuff works in concert with your PPE. Obviously, we're not replacing anything with PPE. Shade, I wanted to go to you for this one. How much does the PPE requirement change depending on the commodity itself being unloaded? Maybe you've got sulfuric, maybe you've got caustic. What differences are there, or are there any? Are we just fully donning the whole kit every time, or is there a difference?
No, yeah, well, we are putting it on. It's company policy. Anything with a class 8 corrosive, you have to suit up. So your sulfuric acid is going to be a class 8, which is probably one of the worst ones, all the way down to some of these lactic acids that go into our food for preservative and all that. They're an acid that's not going to eat you alive like, sulfuric. It's going to just irritate the skin. You obviously don't want any of it in your eyes, but it's just company policy. Anything class 8, whether it's the harsh or the mild stuff, we do suit up for it.
Okay. And my other question that's kind of an offshoot of that is, where do customer requirements come into play here? Is there ever extra stuff that you've got to put on for certain customers and certain unloads, Shade?
I mean, as far as the caustics, no, it's kind of a industry standard. I mean, you get into flammable stuff like that, you got to wear your FRs, but that's kind of up to the customer if you have to wear them or not. But as far as the acids, it's pretty standard all the way across the board.
Copy. So, what is the thought process, Adam, that goes into talking to a driver that's not utilizing their PPE correctly? Are you using the scare tactics like Shade is? Are you grabbing them by the shoulders and having a come to Jesus moment? I mean, this is really serious. And what I'm struggling here with is why a driver would ever make the decision to not wear the PPE correctly, even if they are uncomfortable. How do you approach that situation, Adam? And what are you telling the drivers?
Well, they've already seen the pictures, I'm sure. They're from Shade, and those pictures float around here, so I'm sure they've seen those. So I usually kind of bring it back on the people that care about them. 'Cause, I could say, even if you don't care about yourself getting burned, or you think you're so tough for whatever reason that I can handle a little burn if it ever happens. Well, how's your family going to handle it? How's your wife going to handle that phone call when we have to tell her that you're in the hospital because you didn't wear your PPE and now you got sprayed with a chemical and now you have severe burns.
Is that a call you've ever had to make in your career before, Adam?
Not with this company, no. But when I was in the military, yes, I've had to make those types of phone calls.
Man, I can't even imagine what that's like, and it's no wonder that you have that as kind of a core bit of your philosophy there. I don't want to have to call your emergency contact because I know what those conversations are like. And wow, I can only imagine, man. All right, fellas, I want to give you a chance here to play safety inspector. Yay, something we've all wanted to do in our lives. Be the safety inspector. Be the guy that gets to point it out and say, hey, that doesn't look right. Let's get it fixed. Let's make sure everybody gets home safe. Adam, I'll start with you. Give me 3, 4, 5 things you're trying to catch me doing right or wrong if you're the safety inspector when I am at let's call it an unload process here. What are you looking for? PPE's obvious, but give me a few other things that you might be really keeping a close eye on if you're assessing the safety of a driver's process.
Safety straps, that's a big one. Because a lot of times with the vibration of the pump and everything, we have had this happen before, and I'm sure some people won't believe me, but it does happen. The clips come off, and then the next thing you know, the hose blows off. So that's a big one. Then I suppose I'm just kind of looking at where they're parked. Are they staying and monitoring the unload process, or are they going back and sitting in the truck and eating Doritos? It's just a lot of little stuff that we're looking for. Are they wearing the proper footwear? Some of the stuff is just a quick conversation, like, hey, we observed this while you were unloading. Let's get that fixed, all right? And that's usually where it ends. Most drivers will try to do better. But yeah, just the little things, and a lot of it seems like it doesn't really matter, but it does. Everything we do it for a reason. We're not doing it to just make your life harder.
Right. We're not just doing lip service here. This is serious stuff, and it's important, all the little things. Shade, same question to you. If you're playing safety inspector, you kind of fit that position because as a trainer, you're trying to go through the whole process with a fine-tooth comb, right? What are some of the things you're looking for? If you're looking over my shoulder, God knows you'd have a laundry list of things that I would do wrong, but pretend I'm an experienced driver. You're training me. What are 3, 4, 5 things that you're really looking for outside of the PPE?
Yeah, so Adam covered a lot of the PPE stuff, but to me, the most important thing with our new Isaacs system that we're using, we have the customer validation. We want to make sure we're putting the right chemical in the right tank before we even do anything. We got to get our signatures from the customer. We can't be mixing chemicals and creating mustard gas and, evacuating cities, which happens quite a bit in this industry. So to me, that's the first and most important thing before you even park the truck. You're getting hoses hooked up. You got to be going to the right pipe or the right tank. And then comes your PPE, like Adam explained, and also just being outside with the load. You don't want to. I show some videos on Monday, Tuesdays in the classroom where guys have put the wrong stuff in the wrong tanks, and a lot of those were because of the plants, not having things marked right. But just being outside with the load, watching for the dangers. If you see a gas, starting at, you get a weird green gas coming out of the tank, you want to shut the tank and, hit your mustard points and get away from the danger. So just communicating with the plant you're going to, make sure you're getting the right stuff in the right tanks.
Yeah, and I imagine not only the safety hazard of mixing chemicals in the wrong tanks and offloading into the wrong tank. Yeah, that's the very first concern. But I would imagine that can be an expensive day for liquid trucking if the driver is at fault for offloading the wrong chemical into the wrong tank. Shade.
Oh, that's for sure. We show a video that happened in Athens, Kansas, not by our driver, but a different company, and they had to evacuate. I think it was like 1,300 people, 1,100 people had to go to the hospital with respiratory issues. It was just a comedy errors by the driver and the plant. And, if something like that happens, hopefully you're experienced enough to not panic and shut down the situation to it's already happened, so let's not make it a huge evacuation type situation.
For sure. Adam, you perked up there a little bit. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback off what Shade was saying about the customer validation form. Drivers, that form protects you. I mean, that covers your rear end like you wouldn't believe. You do put something into a wrong tank, and even if the guy that's standing there told you it's the right tank to hook up to, if something blows up or breaks or something big happens, that guy's going to say, no, I didn't. And you're left holding the bag because you're the one hooking it up. If he says, no, I didn't, and you've got that customer validation form signed before you even started any of that, we as a company can come back and say, well, yes, you did. You signed right here saying that he was putting everything where it was supposed to go. So that's on you, not on us. So drivers, protect yourself. That's a big one. So yeah, we take the customer validation form very seriously.
File that customer validation form under CYA, Amanda, for cover your ass, because it really does sound like, Adam, that could be like the linchpin between Liquid being found at fault for something like this and not being found at fault. So very important. Is that something what's the protocol behind those? Are we doing that at every single offload without question?
Yep. The first thing they should do is when they get there and they go over there and show them where to hook up is say, okay, I have this form right here. I just need you to sign it and get their name too, because there's a field to put that in. Have them sign that and just tell them, hey, you're signing this the right product, right tank, and we're not going to spill it. And as long as they sign that, we're pretty well protected at that point. So if something happens, that it's clearly not the driver's fault, especially if they're out there watching, they're taking all the right steps.
10-4. Amanda, I'm going to turn the page here a little bit, but I don't want to run away from what we're talking about here in case you have any questions to ask Adam or Shade before I sort of flip this thing on its head a little bit. Anything left on your page there?
What's the worst thing that's happened from actually wearing your PPE? And it's a trick question.
Sweaty.
Right.
Rash.
Yeah, a rash. There you go. Right.
You want to be drinking
rash.
water. You want to be drinking water because there is some heat exhaustion risk and some hot weather injuries. So drink plenty of water if you're hauling a PPE load. But to my knowledge, we haven't had anything serious happen from somebody wearing their PPE. That's
good. That's good. Well, if you're an Entourage fan, Johnny Drama would tell you got to hydrate, especially if you're going down to Vegas. So, how I'm going to flip this on its head, guys, is because we've talked about some trends that you're seeing, some things that we can clean up. A lot of really good information there for the drivers to take out of this, but they deserve some flowers too, right? Things are good right now. The industry's in a good spot. And I want to ask you, Adam, I'll start with you here. What's some of the things you've seen that the drivers are just nailing right now? Is there anything that comes to mind with like, man, we've been doing good with this certain thing, and I want to give a little bit of praise for that?
Oh yeah, we've got some drivers out there that do the right thing every time. You never hear about them. So if safety doesn't know your name, that's not because you're doing it wrong. It means that you're doing it right. Your dispatchers are saying good things about you. If we hear about you at all, and not being Liquid Trucking famous is not always a bad thing, especially in the safety department.
Got it.
Some of you are doing a great job. We appreciate it. Keep up the hard work, guys. And I hope you're out there making a lot of money, and that's awesome.
HR and safety. You don't want them to know you.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
There was a picture of me on the wall in HR at one of my old jobs, Amanda, and I didn't know if they were throwing darts at it or they just wanted to familiarize, but yeah, bad stuff. Shade, same thing to you, man. Anything you'd like to commend maybe some of your recent trainees for, or a recent crop of new drivers that you've seen that they're doing really well? Anything like that come to mind?
Yeah, for sure. We kind of see them all the time here recently. I think everyone's doing really good pre-trips. I'm trying to pound it into their heads, and we're actually seeing a lot of good, clean inspections coming through right now with the DOT. I think we had a guy this week or last week got pulled over twice and got two clean inspections. So
wow.
Seems like everyone's pre-tripping their equipment and doing a pretty good job with it.
That's awesome. Do you think that goes back to the employee jamboree last year when they saw Roger go out there and demonstrate the right way to do it?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah. It's coming up again. I know I think he only scored second. So Roger's got a little room for improvement. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and to be out of a truck for as long as that guy is and still come in second, man, that's saying something right there.
Yep. Yep.
Awesome, awesome. Well, fellas, this has been great. I think that giving the guys the flowers on that type of stuff is important because we know that it's not just a constant thing where everything's going wrong. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the position that we are right now. We got a great safety department here at Liquid. And Adam, you're obviously an asset to that. It's great to add you to the staff here and have you come on so quickly and so willingly. I said this to you off the air, but I got to tell the drivers out there too. Adam was Johnny on the spot. He emailed me back within like 5 minutes and was like, I'll help out however I can. Real team player here on the staff, Adam. So I want to thank you for that. Shade, I want to thank you as well, man. All the experience you guys bring here has given the drivers a lot to pick from today as far as just kind of cleaning things up and getting better and safer at the job. We'll get to your final thoughts here before we let you go. Now, Shade's done this before, Adam, so I'll come to you second. But the final thoughts segment is to put anything out there on the table that we might have forgotten or we didn't get to at this point in time. If you don't have anything like that, feel free to throw a shout out to other employees, friends, family. Thanking your wife can definitely earn you some brownie points on this show in case she listens. So we'll get to our final thoughts segment here. Shade Thomas, driver training and development leader. Thank you so much for the time, my friend. Final thoughts from you before we let you go today.
Yeah, I like to throw this out just for the older people in the crowd. Just remember we were talking acid. Marcus might get this, but hey, don't take the brown acid.
Yeah. I'm not quite as old as the reference, but I know where it's from. That's a Woodstock thing, right?
You're correct. We'll see how many guys pick that one up.
Yeah. Great reference there, Shade. We really appreciate the time, man. We'll get you back in here soon, all right? Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
And Adam, for you, man, as the safety coordinator, anything we left on the table here today? Final thoughts from you before we let you go, my friend. Thank you so much for the time.
No, I think we covered everything well. As far as final thoughts, I just like to thank the drivers. We know it's hot outside, and we know this time of year can be really, really frustrating for everybody, but you guys are out there working hard, and I just want you to know that everybody in the office here appreciates what you're doing, and I just wanted to personally say thank you.
Well said, and 100%. The drivers are greatly appreciated. They do a great job. Adam, real quick, I want to ask you one more question for the guys listening to this that have never joined us before. Because you were so willing to jump in here and help us out with this episode, what was the experience like the very first time? Aside from a few minor technical difficulties that we won't talk about here on the air, how was it? Was the podcast what you expected? Was it different? And did you enjoy yourself in here today?
Oh yeah, I had fun. I appreciate you guys bringing me on, and it was real easy. Shade's actually out there sitting in his pickup on the call, and I'm sitting here at my desk. So it was a pretty easy process, and I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come talk with you.
Hey, man, you're welcome on the show anytime. We appreciate the time. We'll get you guys back in here sometime in the future. Be good. I normally tell somebody to be safe right now. I'll tell you guys on your drive home tonight from the terminal to work, or to home, excuse me. Be safe, okay, fellas?
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Hats off to Shade and Adam for that awesome interview. They bared with us during the technical difficulties, and they gave us some fantastic insight from the terminal side. I feel like we've really taken this topic and wrapped it up nicely. You guys have heard it. You heard it from the drivers, why you don't want to skip that PPE, why you want to be very careful and very respectful of the products. Now you've heard it from two guys that have a lot of experience behind the wheel and are now sitting behind the desk instead. And listen, we don't want this to turn into a lecture about PPE. That's one thing that I really don't want to do. First and foremost, I am not the authority here. I don't have the knowledge and the wherewithal to lecture you about something like that. And I don't think that Adam and Shade wanted to lecture you, and I don't think that the drivers that we had on a few weeks ago wanted to lecture you. I think more than anything, what we're trying to do is just remind you of the dangers and remind everybody listening how quickly and sort of unexpectedly, things can go wrong if you're not really, really paying attention to detail. A couple of things that really sat with me after that interview. I always sit here for a few minutes and I go over the transcript and I look at the things that the guys said, and I try to sort of let them sit on me for a minute and think about it from the driver's perspective. If I was a driver and I heard these guys say this, how would it sit with me? And here's a few of the highlights that I came up with. Fear isn't always a bad thing. If you circle back to Shade saying he likes seeing someone who's a little bit scared of acid, there's a difference between being afraid to do your job and having a healthy respect for something capable of seriously hurting you. And I think that Shade's perspective there is really important, because I asked him the question, what do you look for? What do you see when you got a guy in training with you that you just automatically know he's an experienced driver? And you might think, oh, the guy checks every box. He's fine-tooth combing the pre-trep. He's this, he's that. No, Shade said it's the fear/respect of the product that really shows him that this guy's been around for a while. He's developed that over years of either seeing or hearing bad things happen, or, splashes or spills or leaks or whatever the case may be. And so he's got respect. He knows what this product can do to you, and he's not playing around. That was a really good one. Something else that stuck with me: the little rules aren't arbitrary, okay? Safety straps, staying with the unload, proper footwear and PPE, customer validation. Adam summed it up nicely. Everything is done for a reason. They're not trying to make the driver's life harder with these protocols. They're just trying to make sure that you get home safely without skin burns over 90% of your body. And don't forget, Shade and Adam, they gave the fleet their flowers, okay? I don't want this to end like sounding like Liquid has a safety crisis here. That's not what. First of all, I'm not the guy you're going to hear that from. And second, I don't think that's going on right now. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have seen Adam crack a smile for that entire interview. But we did. Adam specifically praised the drivers he never has to hear about. And you got to love that, right? Hey, like I said, my name has been up on the wall in more HR departments than I care to talk about, and some of them for good reason. Others, I think it was a bit egregious, but I digress. If safety's not constantly getting in touch with you, you're probably in a pretty good spot, and I think that's important. And Shade said they're seeing strong pre-trips and clean DOT inspections. You got to love that, including a driver who got 2 clean inspections in a very short period of time. That's nothing to scoff at. Hats off to that driver for those pre-trips being just spot on. And listen, I know it's hot out there. We got to acknowledge it. It's the dog days of summer right now. We're in late August. That's what happens. Out there in the Midwest, it's happening out here on the West Coast. It's certainly happening on the Eastern Seaboard and in the Southeast and Southwest. It's hot. There's nothing we can do about it, okay? But being hot and being uncomfortable is a lot better than being laid up in a hospital bed with skin grafts that look like you laid down your street bike at 80 miles an hour. It's not worth it. And I do want to take the time to remind people, Adam hit this nail on the head, and I feel like we can never say it too much. Hydrate. Every vet driver that we've had in here that's been doing this job for a long time will tell you that probably 1 case of water isn't even enough. I know I've had people on this program tell me 2 cases of water minimum, 48 little bottles of water in their truck at all times so that they're constantly able to grab one and rehydrate. You can't mess around with heat exhaustion or heat stroke, guys. It can really take you out. I've seen it happen. I'll tell you a short little anecdote. I took my wife to Aftershock Festival a few years back. In fact, I still have the wristband for our general admission weekend pass hanging on my microphone right here, and I'm reminded of that awesome concert experience every time I sit in front of this microphone. 4 days, all the metal shows that you can imagine, and some good punk rock mixed in there too. It was just an awesome time down in Sacramento, California. If you haven't heard of Aftershock, I highly recommend it. Second day, about 95 degrees, probably 5 to 6 hours into the day. Ashley and I are walking from one stage to another to go see, I can't remember what band it was, but another great show. and I sort of saw the crowd kind of shuffle in front of me. We weren't in a super thick area with crowd. Like, there was room to move around a little bit. And all of a sudden, I just see this guy go right over on his heels, like feet pointed straight up in the air, and he falls back. This is like a 6'4" dude. And we're in a park, and there's a ton of grass everywhere. In fact, it's like 95% grass. This guy was on a concrete walkway. And I'm not kidding you guys. When his head fell back and cracked the pavement, it sounded like somebody snapped a 2x4 in half. It was the loudest crack I've ever heard. And I've gone to a lot of football games. I've heard a lot of cracks. This one I was standing right next to, and it was hair-raising. I immediately figured the guy would not recover from what just happened. Now, fortunately, due to some really good medical staff that was there immediately, I mean, he hadn't been on the ground for more than 10 seconds, and somebody was running up with a med kit and calling for backup and getting all the appropriate people here. This was just a case of heat exhaustion. He went down because his body just shut down because he was so dehydrated and it was so hot and he was losing so much by sweating all day. That's it. It can shut you off like that. It's that easy. And it doesn't matter what type of protective equipment you're wearing. If that happens to you, you're in a bad way. How do you prevent that? Water. All the time. Hydrate. And you know what? I might even recommend getting yourself a little bag of those liquid IVs, the little hydration packets, hydration boosters. You can put in a water real quick. They taste all right. They're a little salty, but it's for a good reason. And man, I'll tell you, they bring you back. We lived on those things in Las Vegas. It was 114 degrees out at the pool when I was in Las Vegas a couple months ago. I will tell you right now, I love the heat. I'm a summer kid, okay? Summer and fall, those are my seasons. But I have had heat exhaustion before. In fact, on a different trip to Las Vegas, I lost an entire day because I couldn't get back on my feet and feel okay. I had to spend the whole time in the hotel room just drinking water and Gatorade trying to bring myself back. It's not where you want to be. We know it's hot out there. We can prepare for it. So make sure you got plenty of water, plenty of hydration, and just plenty of sustenance on that truck for you. And outside of the hydration, you got to wear that PPE. That's all I'm going to say. You guys have heard it. We've beat this dead horse enough. But given that we've had a little bit of a problem with it lately, it only felt right to kind of bring this episode full circle, bring a couple guys in from the terminal, and talk to them about what they're seeing, not only in the training grounds, but in the safety realm as well. So once again, big ups to Adam and Shade for coming on the show. That was an awesome interview. We'll get them back in here again. Now that Shade's off the road, man, I got my hooks in him. He's joined us on the podcast before. Great dude, and a lot of fun to hear all of his experience now and how he's translating it from actually holding the steering wheel himself to training the next crop of liquid drivers on how to hold that steering wheel the best way they possibly can and the safest way they possibly can. Thanks to those guys. Thanks to everybody who tuned in today. We greatly appreciate every single one of you that clicked download, went over to podcast.liquidtrucking.com and clicked play. Every single episode that we've ever done is up there. So tell a friend about the website, tell a friend about the podcast, and shoot me a message, man. I'm always looking for new people. I'll hook you up with 25,000 Drive for Gold points for making your first appearance on this podcast. I'm not messing around with it. I get to it quick. So thank you so much for being here today. Be safe out there, Liquid Trucking. Keep the shiny side up. And until next week at 5 a.m. local time, I kind of did that wrong. This is a really bad outro. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.